Thank you very much, Chair. And can I congratulate the Right Honourable Lady and her committee for producing this report, which could be summed up in one sentence. It makes the country and every one of our constituents poorer when you get to those conclusions. But my question's around the issue of financial services. I have tens of thousands of financial services jobs in my constituency in Edinburgh, and under all the models that have been looked at in this report, the financial services industry shrinks anything from between 9% to slightly under 1%. So that would have a disproportionate impact on Edinburgh because of the way that Edinburgh's financial services sector is set up. So could I ask if there was any modelling done on how many jobs that would mean in terms of a reduction in jobs, and what the government need to do between now and the 29th of March next year to put in place a system or a mechanism or part of a deal that would mean that the financial services industry would not shrink but indeed grow.
Well, can I thank the Honourable very much indeed for his question, and I'm pleased he's mentioned financial services, because I think the view amongst financial services industry actually is they haven't really had quite as much attention devoted to them for such a significant taxpayer, but also for an employer. And I'm glad he mentioned Edinburgh as well, because I think we tend to think sometimes just about the City of London. But actually, he's absolutely right to say that, of course, there are many financial services jobs in his constituency and in other constituencies around the country. Just before I get on to his point about the all scenarios leading us to be poorer, one thing that was interesting about the economic modelling for the Treasury is it's purely done on the trading impact. It is fair to say it's both a negative and a positive. There is no domestic policy assumption made at all. So, of course, it is possible for any future government to think how they might respond to the scenarios as they unfold. In terms of jobs, there wasn't specific modelling done. I mean, there have been estimates, and again, we asked the Chief Executive of the Financial Conduct Authority who appeared before us, as we've asked other financial services witnesses. I think the initial estimates of jobs moving overseas have not come to pass. But we are still looking at, I think it was between sort of 5,000 and 10,000 being impacted. And what the financial services sector now say, they talk about day one and day two impacts. You know, day one, a lot of financial services firms, we know they're already putting in place contingency arrangements, but they're trying to keep job moves to a minimum. Depending on the deal, and this is the second part of his question, what deal could put in place to help this? Depending on the deal that eventually is arrived at, the day two and beyond impacts on jobs being lost or moved, it could be very significant for financial services sector. You know, we could be talking, obviously, thousands of jobs. They're often well-paying jobs. They're not something any of us would want to see disappear from our constituencies. To answer the second part of his question, though, which actually is about the deal. The deal that's on the table at the moment, political declaration, talks about a system of equivalence, where there's a lot of work that needs to be done to work out the equivalence regime. Andrew Bailey, the Chief Executive of the FCA, went through with us how he thought the equivalence regime needs to be enhanced. I think he's right on that. But of course, I don't think it's any great secret to members of this House, I'm in favour of a Norway Plus type option, where of course we would retain access to the single market. And although I know that there are other objections to that, what it would do for financial services is it would keep the passporting regime in place, and that would be of significant benefit to financial services firms and therefore for people they can employ, the numbers going forward.